John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with our friends. Turn off our cell phones and get away. Night of Demos, John DeSando on the radio.
Cinema Classics is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows Thursdays at 8:01 p.m. on WCBE 90.5 FM. And listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Wayne Miller.
And this is Cinema Classics.
Yes, John. And shouldn't we be called Jimmy DeSando and Jimmy Miller?
Yes. It reminds me that of my favorite 90s film, the protagonist was eventually named Jimmy.
Yes, yeah.
And so I see that this is really a very common, like Bud or something.
But the interesting thing of this, of course, what we're reviewing is 28 Days Later, the Bone Temple, and this is the second of a trilogy of movies of dealing with the zombie apocalypse that was covered decades ago in 28 Days Later, and then 28 Weeks Later, a few years after that. And then last year, it came back with a robust sequel, 28 Days Later, and this is the second in a sequel.
I know, and I'll tell you, when I had promoted this show, I had inadvertently said 28 years later and didn't put in the Bone Temple.
Yeah.
And so but it was just last year.
It was in fact, I went back and looked, and you had reviewed it with a good buddy of ours, Ezra, who is an expert on zombie movies.
Yeah.
And he really liked it, and that was like late June.
Yes, I know.
So it was just about 6 months ago that came out.
So I'm glad we're clarifying that for our audience.
Yes.
This is not the one I had promoted.
Has several people from the first one, particularly the young protagonist, about 12, 13 years old, who did, Spike was his name, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, Alfie something or other.
Yeah, and he...
Alfie Williams.
And he wanted to come, at the end of that movie, he wanted to set out on his own. His dad had taken him to the mainland to scrounge for supplies, but also it was like almost a bonding experience in that movie. And in this one, Spike wanted to go out, or at the end of the last one, he wanted to go out on his own, and he saved from zombies from a strange-looking group of people wearing platinum blonde wigs.
Very much reminding you of Clockwork Orange.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And this group that we're talking about, and it's led by a guy, an excellent actor, Jack O'Connell. And John, he's made a name for himself just this year alone, because he was the main jig dancing Irish lead vampire in Sinners.
Yeah, right.
The guy was good in that, and he's good in this one. And his name is Jimmy Crystal. He says his full name is Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal. And so these young adolescents he takes under his wing, kind of like Fagin, and the Artful Dodger and the little pickpockets.
The Jimmies, that whole group.
He calls them Jim. Everybody gets a Jimmy name.
Everybody gets a Jimmy. Are not they are not hit by the virus.
No.
But they're going out and killing people who haven't been hit by the virus.
And this is one thing that when it's people are fans of The Walking Dead, that TV series, and they've had several spin-offs of The Walking Dead.
Right.
And the living, the uninfected, the bad ones are nearly as bloodthirsty and evil as the poor Walking Dead.
What I like about this series, different from, I'm not a big zombie fan.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is it's ambivalent toward human beings.
Oh.
The good are bad, the bad are good, and it's just like life.
Well, John, this is really not a really pure zombie movie. Zombies aren't really featured that much, except one person that we'll discuss, I'm sure, more later. But excuse me. This movie's kind of a mashup of a lot of other genres. The killer cult, like you mentioned, like a Manson family, a killer cult type of thing, led by Jimmy Crystal and all of his little Jimmys.
Yeah.
Or he calls them fingers.
And look at, don't be disappointed for all those zombie fans out there. There's plenty of body horror in this.
Oh God!
I mean,
not to mention the full Monty, the full frontal nudity.
My God. Yes.
Oh my goodness! Yes,
it's been extraordinary.
Yeah.
In this third, it's the second of the trilogy.
Yes.
Okay.
Of the 28 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the last one, last year, the real standout was Ray Fiennes.
Yes.
As the former physician.
Yes.
Scientist, who you can't figure out. And does Jack think he's the devil?
You mean Jimmy?
I mean,
Crystal?
Jimmy, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And definitely, like the whole, how they have like little upside down crosses carved into their forehead. He wears a necklace, a pendant of one. But yeah, Ray Fiennes is this doctor who it looks like he's nearly as bloody as a zombie victim.
Yeah.
But it's iodine. He coats himself in iodine that he figures out can kind of ward off the zombies getting to. And this is another type of genre that I think this movie touches on, Frankenstein. So he's trying to find a cure for the infected. And he takes in this huge, in more ways than one, zombie that he nicknames Samson, who was in the last summer's 28 years later, ripping, including the spines, heads off of people. But anyhow, he takes them in, so it's kind of like, and gives them morphine, drugs them up a little bit, and is trying to find a cure.
They have the most peculiar relationship, and I have to give credit to Alex Garland, who is the writer. And as you know from Ex Machina and Civil War, the guy is a powerful force, both in writing and directing. And this one, I thought he has thrown something in there that I've never seen before. That is, our scientist, played by Ray Fiennes, is somehow developing a bond with this zombie.
It's kind of a one-sided conversation, but as they kind of sit down, they get high, it's kind of stoner bros, kind of talk, like high on their morphine. But I found that at first I'm thinking, wow, this is a lot like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The monster,
Yeah.
and how the Dr. Frankenstein tries to bond with the monster, but then it really, all of a sudden it hit me last night. It's more like Pygmalion, or the musical version, My Fair Lady. Professor Henry Higgins and the little Cockney urchin woman, Eliza Doolittle. And so it's kind of like the older master and his young mentee.
Yeah, and it's been a lifelong, a centuries-long, a humanity-long urge of ours to replicate, to be able to be, and this is the science part, to be able to duplicate, and it's very difficult and it's fraught.
Yeah.
And one of the things that our scientist likes so much is that he sees the possibility that he can cure the zombie.
Yes, that there may be a cure out there for the infected, which has been explored in some other zombie movies, and particularly also the TV series The Walking Dead. It's kind of like, don't kill the zombies. There could be a cure, we could cure them. But after so many years, these zombies are looking pretty long in the tooth. I mean, they walking on crushed legs, or crawling along and decomposing and looking pretty bad, except for Samson.
Well, and again, got to give credit both to Garland and to Danny Boyle, who's really a moving force in this.
Right.
He's directed two at least one of these, and is coming back for the third.
Okay, he's coming back to direct,
for the third.
because he did last summer's 28 Years Later, and the original.
And
the original 28
Nita
Days
DaCosta,
Later.
he has
Yes.
recruited to do this one.
Yes.
And she apparently really made notice with Candyman a few years ago.
Yes.
And so she does quite well in this.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting, in reading a review, they talk about the different cinematography styles of both Doyle and 28 Years Later had more of a handheld found footage type of feel for it. Whereas this one, as he has directed, has made it more of a traditional cinematography, you know, and not, you know, some of the swish pans and other tropes of cinema verite.
Yeah. Well, Wayne Miller, people are going to have, our audience are going to have to go to the WCBE, the podcast experience, to look for Double Take.
Yeah.
And but right now, what do you recommend for 20 years later? The Bone, what is it?
The Bone Temple.
Bone Temple,
Yeah,
right.
And it could mean two things, you know. It could mean all, you know, all the statuary that Ray Fiennes' character has made, or the full frontal nudity of Samson. But anyhow, besides that, if somebody likes their zombie movies, they'd like this one. But boy, like Ezra said in his review with you for 28 Years Later, older teens. This is not a movie for the young at all. Very disturbing details.
I'm John DeSando.
Classics, let's go to the movies and share some popcorn, soda pop with